Welcome back to Game Galaxy, and today I wanted to talk about how awesome the SEGA Genesis Classics Collection is on PlayStation 4. This is an amazing collection of over 50 Genesis games and is perfect for any SEGA fan or newcomers alike. Through the years, there's been different compilations released through SEGA, and going back to the Dreamcast, there was the SEGA Smash Pack Volume 1. Hilariously, there never was a Volume 2, unless I was unaware of it. But this one, what was cool about it is it had Virtua Cop 2 on it, so it was actually a Sega Saturn game, and that's why I really wanted this. However, the sound emulation on this was garbage. It was terribly awful for the Genesis games on here. There was a computer PC one for Windows that was a Sega Smash Pack, and that was much better. I played Columns on the computer a lot with that one. And then when we got to PlayStation 2, there was a Sega Genesis Collection. This one had about 30 games, if my memory is correct. 28 it says here on the back. This one was a really great collection. It had, I thought the emulation was perfect and great, and the resolution looked great. I was a big fan of this one. Then came PlayStation 3. We got Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. This one, I did not play as much as the PS2 one. There were things I did not like about this. You know, they said enhanced. I don't know if they had messed with the graphics. There were borders that I wasn't sure if I could turn off. Wasn't a fan too much of this. But what was cool is that this Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection had Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles on it, I believe. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's on here. Now, that's one bummer in this new thing that doesn't happen. They only have, when it comes to Sonic games, Sonic 1 and 2 on here. Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles are not included on this disc, which is an absolute bummer. I can only assume that perhaps it wasn't included for copyright reasons, now that the research has gone in and it's pretty clear that Michael Jackson and his team of composers did compose music for Sonic 3. So who knows what the reasoning behind that is. Or maybe they're going to release some kind of Sonic compilation in the future, but this only has Sonic 1 and 2. Sonic 2 is my favorite Sonic Genesis game, but I know that's going to bum a lot of people out because Sonic 3 and the whole Sonic & Knuckles thing is kind of the peak of the quintessential Sonic 16-bit experience. So one thing that's cool about this is when you load it up, there's kind of like, it's set up like an old room from the 90s with Sega posters on the wall and a little, you know, CRT tube TV there. And it's just, it's so cool. And actually, I think this has been available on Steam for a while. If you bought games, Sega games on Steam, I think they've had this on there for a while, this little virtual 90s themed room. But it's so cool because the time of day can match to whatever time it is for you, or you can change the clock on the wall to set the lighting and the mood of the room if you want. So it was kind of cool to feel that morning sunlight on a Saturday morning when I was playing it in real life on a Saturday in the morning and getting that in like a virtual space. You can also choose to play looking at it like as if you're looking at a TV, and there's all kinds of graphical controls like changing the how it looks on the TV, or you can just play in full screen like you're on an emulator, which is how I prefer to do it. I don't need to be looking at a TV inside of a TV. That doesn't do anything for me. But that's the thing, you could put on all kinds of different filters that mess with the graphics. I'm kind of a guy that never liked smoothing filters on classic games, so I have most everything off. And I don't want any borders, I just want black on the sides and no enhancements to it at all. But there's one thing I have to say, and listen up to this one point if you don't take anything else away from this, and why I'm recommending this is an amazing purchase. And it's something, it's so subtle what they've done. Again, I don't have any graphical options turned on, but whatever they have the settings in their emulators to just do a light blur and the muting of colors is spot on perfect for what's inside my memory of how Sega Genesis used to look on my old CRT TV. The colors are just ever so slightly muted, and I'm going to show you a comparison from this collection here of the second Sonic the Hedgehog boots up compared with Sonic the Hedgehog being emulated on my Raspberry Pi. I'm going to change between these screens here, and do you see the difference? The ever so slight difference in blur and colors? The Sega Genesis Classics Collection just has this right muting of the colors that just feels so right. And once I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this feels right. You know, it's like the sound is perfect and the emulation is really, really good. There are some screen tearing effects that happens that I've noticed sometimes in explosions in Gunstar Heroes, for example, and sometimes I noticed it in Altered Beast. So it's not 100% perfect, but it's really, really, really good emulation. Sound is on point. And I just have to say, the colors for me make this worth it, because on the Raspberry Pi, everything is bright and brighter, and that's not a bad thing, but just having the muted colors, especially Golden Axe 2, man, when I loaded it, I was like, this just feels like at home. So whatever they did, I love that. I wish we could have that option in a lot of emulators, and whatever that magic is. And so I highly recommend that. One other cool thing you can do, besides play the games, and there are, you know, tons of great Sega Genesis titles here, even some of the lesser known ones like Landstalkers here, and Alien Storm is an amazing game. There's just all kinds of stuff, but one of the cool things you can do besides play the games is there are challenges, and instead of like giving you a blatant challenge of like score this many points and then you have to go play the game and do it, this will just throw you in the middle of the game and see, can you do this one task? And so, for instance, there's like one of the tasks is Golden Axe, where you, I almost said Golden Ass, Golden Axe, where you only have one health bar left and you have to defeat 2 of the enemies in the duel. And so you'll go and you'll be thrown right in the game, and it's just, hey, can you do the challenge? If you fail, and you get to retry. If you do it, you just checked it off. So these challenges actually bring a lot of value to me, because some of these games we've played over and over and over again, right? So it's really cool to be given a challenge list. So it's like, yeah, I want to see if I can do that, or I want to see if I can play through Golden Axe 2 and throw like 12 people in a pit, is like one of the things they could, you know, give you. I think that's a trophy actually, not a challenge, but really, really enjoy all of the different challenges that you can do. There's online multiplayer, which is unbelievable. I have not tested it at all. I'm a little shy when it comes to playing with strangers, and I haven't found a friend that has this yet to try it, but that's incredibly cool that someone else could have this, and you too could be playing Streets of Rage 2 over the internet via multiplayer with voice chat. That's just, that's amazing, man. But I will say, even though that's really cool, if you're able to have a friend in proximity, these games are meant to be played in the same room together. There's nothing like playing a good beat 'em up with your buddy right next to you. That's the way it's supposed to be done. So, all in all, I can just, you know, I have to give this a big recommendation, and I highly recommend it for, like I said, anybody who is a Sega Genesis or Mega Drive fan, or anybody that never has gotten to dive into Sega's glory days of the 16-bit generation. Absolutely pick this up, because there's many ways, yes, to emulate, or I talk about Raspberry Pis all the time, but this is a great, easy way that me as a Sega fan, as someone who grew up in the system, is giving it a real thumbs up in terms of authenticity of how it felt. So this is absolutely a recommendation. Everybody should go get it. It's only, if you buy it brand new, I think they're only charging $30 for this, for over 50 Sega Genesis games. That is totally, totally worth it. So highly, highly recommend the Sega Genesis Classics for PS4. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. I'll see you next time.